All right, let's dive right into this explainer. It's kind of wild to think about, but the absolute chaos of 1500s Italy, it actually perfectly mirrors the messy, competitive dynamics of our modern lives, especially on platforms like YouTube. You might think a 500-year-old political treatise has zero to do with building a channel, running a Discord server, or just surviving everyday internet drama. But honestly, human nature really hasn't changed. Niccolò Machiavelli had a front-row seat to absolute political chaos, and he wrote down exactly how the world actually works, rather than how we just wish it worked. So, is it better to be loved or feared? Now, this ultimate question actually proves that Machiavelli's famous book, The Prince, isn't some evil villain playbook. It's a highly practical survival guide. When he asks if it's better to be loved or feared, he's really getting at how you maintain stability when people are, well, naturally fickle. Ideally, sure, you want both. But if you absolutely have to choose, he argues that relying solely on someone's affection is just a super fragile strategy.
And we really need to clear up this myth that being Machiavellian means you're a ruthless monster. I mean, we see that word today and instantly picture a movie villain, right? But in reality, Machiavelli was a political realist. He was basically pointing out that acting like a total saint in a world full of non-saints is just going to get you ruined. He firmly believed a leader's absolute highest duty is to keep their community safe and stable, even if that means getting your hands a little dirty sometimes.
Okay, moving into Section 1, How to Gain Power. Taking over an existing stable group is pretty easy, mostly just out of sheer habit. Think of hereditary power, like your favorite old family pizza joint. People keep going back because it's familiar. As long as you don't randomly double the prices on them, you're totally fine. But if you're building a brand new club from scratch, stepping up to lead a newly formed team, or starting a brand new channel, nobody trusts you yet. You literally have to prove your authority from day one.
And that brings us to Virtù. This was Machiavelli's term for your personal grit, talent, and ability. Relying on your own virtù is absolutely crucial. It's exactly like building a YouTube channel from scratch, by actually putting in the work, learning the algorithm, mastering your editing skills, and writing killer scripts. It takes a long time, right? But once you build that foundation through sheer effort, your position becomes incredibly stable because you know exactly how the engine works from the inside out.
Now compare that to Fortuna, which is basically just external circumstances or luck. Say you go viral overnight on sheer luck. That actually leaves you incredibly vulnerable. Sure, you've got a massive audience right this second, but because you haven't built those underlying skills, the virtù, to sustain that fame, you have no clue how to replicate it. Relying on luck or riding on the strength of others is a huge trap unless you immediately use that lucky break to build your own solid foundation. So, if you step into a leadership role and you absolutely have to make some tough calls, Machiavelli advises using what he terms cruelty well used. Basically, rip the band-aid off immediately. If you're taking over a toxic group, boot the most toxic members on day one. Set those strict boundaries right up front. By getting the harshness out of the way all at once, you clear the air, and then you can spend the rest of the year being supportive and fun. And honestly, your community will actually feel a lot safer. All right, on to Section 2, Defending Your Turf. Just like hiring mercenary players to carry you in a competitive video game tournament, outsourcing your security to people who only care about a paycheck is a guarantee they'll desert you the second things get stressful. Machiavelli absolutely despised mercenaries. If you rely on fair-weather friends or paid outsiders to defend your reputation or your online community, they are going to run for the hills at the first sign of a real challenge. True security only comes from your own independent strength and your core, loyal community. Furthermore, you should never build fortresses against your own people. Think about it. Muting your entire Discord server out of fear they might post something bad just breeds resentment. They'll just leave and start a rival server. But trusting your core community, giving them mod roles, for example, turns their strength into your strength. Trust and unity are your ultimate armor. You literally cannot build a wall high enough to protect yourself from the anger of your own people.
Moving right along to Section 3, The Lion and the Fox.
You kind of have to play life a bit like a game of Among Us. You must be a fox to spot the traps and look totally innocent, but you've got to be a lion to strike with power when it's necessary. See, a lion is super strong, but easily stumbles right into hidden traps. A fox is brilliantly clever, but can't fight off a pack of wolves. A realist leader has to combine both. Be adaptable, recognize when someone is trying to manipulate you, but have the sheer undeniable strength to stand your ground when you're challenged.
Remember earlier when we asked if it's better to be loved or feared? Well, the trick is you can be feared without being hated if you act like a strict but fair teacher. A strict teacher enforces rules consistently and sets really high standards. The students might fear getting detention, sure, but they respect the teacher. A bully, though? A bully acts arbitrarily and steals from people. You must avoid being hated at all costs. Don't mess with people's property, and only issue punishments when the justification is 100% undeniable to everyone watching.
And part of being a smart leader is managing exactly who you surround yourself with. Machiavelli breaks people down into 3 brain types. Now, since you're the average of the company you keep, you absolutely need to surround yourself with at least second-class brains. They don't have to be absolute geniuses building concepts from scratch, but they definitely need to be able to recognize a good idea and genuinely care about the team's success. Avoid the third-class slackers like the plague, because they will just drag your entire operation down. To avoid looking foolish, get your constructive criticism behind closed doors from a few deeply trusted friends, rather than constantly seeking empty praise from internet strangers. If you just listen to yes men who only want to flatter you, your work is absolutely going to suffer. Pick a tight, wise inner circle. Demand brutal honesty from them. Listen really carefully to their feedback. But, and this is key, always make the final decision yourself.
Finally, let's look at Section 4, the realist cheat sheet.
Take a look at this quote. It perfectly summarizes the entire realist mindset. If you abandon what is done for what ought to be done, you're essentially playing 100% politely in a game where everyone else is actively bending the rules. And doing that, it only guarantees your defeat. You have to deal with the world exactly as it is, not how you wish it would be.
This cheat sheet basically proves Machiavelli wasn't teaching us how to be bad people. He was teaching us how to navigate our careers, our social circles, and our YouTube channels with actual resilience and wisdom. Don't be evil, be realistic. Don't try to buy loyalty, build sustainability. Don't just obsess over being loved, aim to be respected. And whatever you do, don't just rely on luck. Build your dams.
He uses this amazing metaphor, comparing fortune, or luck, to a violent river. You simply cannot stop the flood of a changing YouTube algorithm, a sudden economic downturn, or some massive internet drama. But when the weather is calm, you can absolutely build the dams of versatile skills to channel that water safely. Preparation during the quiet times is literally the only thing that saves you when those chaotic floods eventually hit.
So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on for your own modern principalities, your channels, and your communities. Because realism always beats idealism when it comes to survival. Are you actively building your